guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about how amazing this little combo of the Canon EOS R6, the EF to RF adapter, and the EF Tamron 100 to 400mm lens really is. This is an amazing little combo that's what we're going to call semi-budget friendly. It's still expensive stuff, but relatively it could be the cheaper end of what you're looking at. But the R6 and the Tamron EF 100 to 400 is a super stellar combo. Now, if you guys watch my channel, you probably already know that I'm a big fan of the Tamron 100 to 400mm lens, but putting it with the EOS R6 just exponentially made the performance better on this lens. The autofocus is literally at least 3 times as fast as it was on my RP or my M50. The in-body stabilization makes a huge difference, especially if you're trying to do something like put the 2x extender on there. Now, a little side note, I don't know if I recommend the 2x extender. It's probably the one piece of kit that I've bought and used the least, but 400mm might leave something to be desired as far as reach goes. That's why I tried this. Not really 100% sold on Tamron's 2x extender, but that's not what this video is about today. So back to the Canon EOS R6, again, shooting sports with this is just absolutely amazing. The 12 frames per second that you're getting with the mechanical shutter, or the 20 frames per second that you're getting with the electronic shutter, just absolutely game changing as far as capturing every last bit of action that's happening in front of you. Again, the autofocus is insanely fast now. It's way faster than any of the other DSLRs or mirrorless cameras that I've tried this lens with. In-body stabilization, allowing me to just slow the shutter speed down so much if the bird does land and I can get my ISO right down. And then on top of that, the R6 is just so good at high ISO performance that even if I want to crank to, let's say, 1/8,000th of a second and get that bird in flight, even if my ISO is cranking up, it doesn't matter. The R6 handles it so well. It's amazing. So, you know, just to conclude everything, I just want to point out that this combo is something to really seriously consider. They work amazing together. Now, another thing that's worth talking about when it comes to wildlife is that the R6 only has a 20 megapixel sensor. Now, I'm going to put a picture up that I took with this, and I actually cropped this down to a 7 megapixel image. So, as you can see, you can totally crop taking pictures with the Canon EOS R6, and you are not going to have a problem at all. It's something that I was a little bit worried about because it was lower megapixels than what I'd been using, and it hasn't affected my work at all. Not even a little bit. In fact, I even feel like I'm getting just better results out of the lower megapixel sensor. Everything about this camera is so much better. Having the animal focus is just a game changer, and it really works well. I mean, I'm going to say it's hitting probably above 90% of the time. It's grabbing the subject that I want it to, which is pretty dang good. The ability to just have that autofocus be so much quicker and to be able to track the bird through flight, that's something my RP really wasn't doing. So I'm just really amazed at how much the lens performs and how much better the lens performs on the R6 in comparison to my RP or my M50. Now here in Jersey, we've had a lot of activity from the bald eagles and the various different hawks that we have around here. So I've been lucky enough to be able to hang out over at my friend's farm, and we've been watching the hawks and the eagles coming in. So I'm just going to be putting up pictures of all of that stuff that I've been shooting with this camera and with this setup. Whenever I'm doing wildlife, this is the setup that I'm using. The ability to recover shadows is amazing with the R6. That's a big difference. And the high ISO performance just makes it just a no-brainer for action or sports photography, mixed with just the absolutely stellar performance of the dual pixel 2 autofocus system that Canon's come out with. There's nothing really bad to say about this camera. This was my first Tamron lens that I ever tried, and I'm super glad that I gave it a shot because it saved me hundreds of dollars and outperformed the Canon L glass that I was using at the time. So another big game changer that comes with getting the Canon EOS R6 here is the ability to shoot with an electronic shutter and actually be able to control all of the aspects of your camera. So now I can shoot completely silently which with wildlife makes a huge difference. A lot of times, even being as quiet as the shutter is in this camera, the animal's still going to hear you and still going to react to it. I can shoot completely silently with full manual control of my camera, and that's just also game breaking. I'm getting so many more shots by just having the ability to shoot completely silently. I mean, I know that that's also going to come in handy for a lot of people that might shoot different events where they need to be quiet. I don't do a lot of that stuff, but as far as wildlife goes, it's a huge benefit, huge benefit. The 20 frames per second is outrageous. I don't even feel like I ever need 20 frames per second. 12 frames per second does fine for me, so most of the time I stay in mechanical shutter mode. I'm using the mechanical shutter unless I feel like I need to be silent. Some other great things that are worth noting is just the sensor, how good the sensor is that comes out of the Canon EOS R6. The ability to recover shadows is much better than it was on my M50, of course, or my RP. The ability to recover highlights is again increased. The dynamic range that you can capture is huge, and the ability to shoot at high ISO. There's just no camera out right now that I think is going to rival the ability to shoot at such high ISOs with such clean imagery. It's really quite amazing. There's nothing really bad to say about this camera. Even when it comes to the video end of things, where I like to do a lot of 4K recording, especially in 60 frames per second, doing my wildlife, and I haven't run into any problems with overheating. The only time that I've actually overheated the camera was when I decided I was going to overheat the camera, and I just left it running for like 15 or 20 minute clips consecutively. You know, I'm doing 15 minutes, shut it off, turn it right back on to another 10-minute clip, and that's the only way that I was able to wear it down to where it would overheat. I don't think the way that I shoot, which is normally more like 1, maybe a 3-minute clip, I don't think I would ever run into the overheating issues. Even doing something like this, I'm never going to shoot a 20-minute clip of 4K, especially, and I wouldn't even be recording in 60 frames per second with talking head. I'd be in 24, where I'm not going to have any issues anyway. So, you know, that being said, guys, if you're on the fence about looking at the Canon EOS R6, I say definitely go for it if it's in your budget. It's a literally amazing camera. If you already have the Tamron 100 to 400 millimeter lens, definitely worth picking up the EOS R6 and pairing it up with this lens, because your performance is going to get so much faster, so much better with this lens on this camera. Even if you're already using a mirrorless full frame camera, the R6, the dual pixel autofocus 2 system mixed with this Tamron lens is absolutely amazing. It's lightning quick, it tracks everything, and then of course, because of this body, you've got the animal eye tracking. This thing will literally lock on to the eye of a bird while it's flying, and it will work over 90% of the time. It's really quite an amazing little pair. I hope that you guys give it a try. If you guys think this video helped you in any way, please think about going below, subscribing, clicking the notification bell, and I'll see you guys at the next video.